Hey guys, welcome to Cold Film Review, the podcast where we discuss the films you love and no one else gets, and we see if they hold up. Tonight, we're shooting up liquid eyeliner, we're turning crime into beauty, and things are going to get a little trashy as we review the King of Filth, John Waters' 1974 trash epic, Female Trouble. So let's just start the show.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex? Klopex. Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Okay, guys, thanks for joining us this week. Do us a favor, just go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe so it automatically comes to your phone or whatever listening device you're listening to us on. And tell a friend about the show. If they're into cult films, all this stuff, it helps us out. You know, helps us climb those charts, as we like to say here.
As we like to say.
We do like to say that a lot, don't we?
Yeah, we do. So today we are talking about Female Trouble. It was directed by John Waters, came out in 1974, had a budget of $25,000, made a box office of ? Was filmed in the U.S., has a rating of NC-17, even though John Waters doesn't understand why, and has a 79% in Rotten Tomatoes. We finally made it in the above 20 club on that. All right, guys, if you don't know what this movie's about, it's about a spoiled schoolgirl that runs away from her home, gets pregnant while hitchhiking, and then ends up as a fashion model for a pair of beauticians who like to photograph women committing crimes. That's basically it. This is Chris's pick. Chris, why did you pick Female Trouble?
I picked Female Trouble because while I was going back and forth, Pink Flamingos or Female Trouble, I do want to cover Pink Flamingos at some point. But in my opinion, I think Female Trouble is the better movie of that era. And we haven't really touched on John Waters since the beginning of the show. We did Cecil B. Demented. So I wanted to bring him back into the circle, try one of his really early films and see what you guys think of his early work compared to what you've seen in his later work.
And before I ask this question, if anybody has seen this film before, let me introduce everyone so you know who's answering these questions. We got Kyle Smith.
Hey, how's it going?
Chris Willenbrecht.
What's up?
And Michael Salustio.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So had anyone seen this movie before?
Negative.
No, I have not.
I had not seen this movie before either.
Yeah, and of course I had.
This is
We all know you love John Waters, Chris.
this is why I hadn't seen this movie before, is because I saw Pink Flamingos and then automatically thought I'm not going to like early John Waters.
Yeah.
Because I fucking hated Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
So I always stayed away from his earlier work because I just figured it was all like Pink Flamingos.
I'd agree with that, yeah. Same for me.
Yeah, and I would say there's at least three there that all feel very like similar in like feel, style, quality of film.
What's the third one?
Maniacs, right?
No, I'd actually put Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, and then Desperate Living kind of in a bundled pack, if you will. I feel like that's an era of like of him that where he was trying to wow the audience in a sense. It was sort of like a gimmick for him to be shocking, but he just happened to have a good sense of humor to pull it off.
Now, this movie is somehow linked to the Manson family?
No.
No?
At all.
I thought it was. Because
the only way it's linked is the film itself is not linked. It's he dedicated the film to Tex Watson, who was one of the main murderers in like the Tate LaBianca.
Okay, but I want to know. Okay, so what? Can you explain that part? Because there was a part of me that for this film in particular, when I found out about that, I was like, okay, I can kind of see that because, and I thought there was a connection based on how Dawn gets kind of like almost brainwashed by these two people that just want her to make her beautiful, and then all of a sudden she goes and commits these crimes, and it's really not because she has a love of violence that I felt, but more along the lines of like they indoctrinated her to some sort of weird belief system.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see how, and you know that maybe there could be some influence there. I'm sure there was because I know John Waters actually attended the Manson trials when Pink Flamingos was like in Los Angeles, like its premiere. Like he went to the trial like the same day that it premiered. So he was always fascinated by it. But I think really where it stems from is he used to visit him in jail and believed that he was truly like a rehabilitated person and that he just got fucked up with Manson for 8 months and got sucked into some shit he shouldn't have.
And he felt the same way about a girl, right?
What's that?
She was part of the Manson family. You're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Also, I don't remember which one it was, but essentially, he was very interested in the case itself. Kind of inserted himself into these people's lives. Also, in like the prison system, like he used to teach in prisons. John Waters did.
I heard that.
Like film, he used to go there and teach them film. So he saw that people could become rehabilitated, but they have no way out. I mean, they're in there forever, but they're definitely not who the public perceives them to be. So I think he developed an attachment and dedicated the film to him because he was going through that at the time.
Which for me was also like a little weird. And the fact that not weird because John Waters is weird just to begin with. Like I've met John Waters with Chris a long time ago. Saw his live show that he kind of does, which is fantastic. If you ever get a chance to go see him live and speak, please do. He's very fun. But one thing I kind of got from this movie, which I'll try to touch up on later too, is that it kind of points at like the exploitation of the media and how they use like violent crimes and these people and use them for entertainment in a way.
So like a natural born killers kind of thing.
Yeah, where it's like, like the media exposes like these people doing horrendous things and stuff like that to get ratings and stuff like that. But then I also thought, he's telling you this message in this film, right? But then isn't he doing it the same thing by dedicating it to Tex?
Well, if going off what Chris said, if he was under the impression that Tex was rehabilitated, then he wouldn't be promoting violence, right?
I don't know.
That's how I take it, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think he's promoting violence. I think, personally, I feel like it's his little jab or mockery at the world around him, like intermixed with the characters from Baltimore that he grew up with and knew. So I think it was more like drug influenced. Like he talks a lot about being high all the time and smoking a lot of marijuana, and just it's mostly comedy based, So
Smoking a lot of marijuana.
Smoking a lot of marijuana.
There was a lot of
marijuana
cannabis
cigarettes.
sativa. Yeah, I mean, I think the film could definitely maybe be making a statement in that sense. I don't know that he's got a deep statement to make other than like I'm poking fun at some ridiculous shit.
There was some weird connection that I read about the whole crime is beauty thing that I guess that did stem from his visits with Tex. So I like again I don't know the whole story of how he became involved with that. I know he dedicated a chapter in one of his books to whoever this girl is.
It's not Linda Kasabian, is it?
No,
it's one of the other ones.
Anyways, that he wanted her to be rehabilitated, that he wanted to get on parole because he felt that she had been. But I had never heard anything about him necessarily promoting Manson himself.
No, I don't think I've ever heard him promote Manson himself. What I was saying is it's the idea of media and other outlets using famous killers and showing and making them famous through news and whatever, and exploiting these people basically. I just thought it was weird to dedicate a movie to another violent criminal and then kind of poke fun at that. Poke fun at exploitation.
I mean, I could see I could see that being John Waters' like kind of sense of humor though at the same time coming into play as well.
Oh, definitely.
So
Yeah.
I don't think there was like he inadvertently did something like he made a movie about the media making a big deal about murderers, but then dedicated it to a murderer, which in turn is actually he's part of a media making a big deal about a murderer. I don't think that's the case. I think it's partly his sense of humor and partly because this guy, I imagine, became kind of his friend, and he definitely was under the impression that he was rehabilitated. So if he was dedicating to it, in his mind, I'm sure he wasn't dedicating it to a murderer. He was dedicating it to a person who kind of got fucked up and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I don't see it as like a shock value thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't, and even in Pink Flamingos, it might have been to start. Like there's a scene where Divine's walking along the street and she walks by a wall that's spray painted. It says "Free Tex Watson," so that's in Pink Flamingos, and then he dedicates this film to him. So
Yeah.
there's some kind of a relationship that developed between them.
All right, with that being said, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about female trouble.
Baltimore was once capital of the United States.
Boss?
True, Miss Jude Fine. You must have been talking on the phone instead of doing your homework last night. It was the capital for 2 months during the Revolutionary War. That's 2 redettes for you in just 1 week. It looks like you'll be getting a deficiency. What is it, Miss Holland?
Mr. Weinberger, Dawn Davenport is eating a meatball sandwich right out in class, and she's been passing notes.
I was not eating.
I got a knife here in my pocketbook, and I'm gonna cut you up after class.
Stop this immediately.
Now they're threatening me, these awful cheap girls. My mother told me to report this kind of thing. I'm trying to get an education.
All right, guys, we're back. We're talking about female trouble.
Here tonight.
But not literally. We're not literally talking about like our own personal problems.
No, not the troubles of females.
With our girlfriends.
Or anything like that.
Yeah, or anything like that.
Talking about the John Waters film from 1974. Let me start off with this question. I think this is going to be pretty unanimous right across the board. Is this a cult film, and why?
I'll say yes, it is, and my and why is going to simply be because it's John Waters. He's a cult film director. Anything he touches has that following.
So I kind of thought that at first too. Was my argument to it too, and then I thought about the time period when this came out in 1974, and actually how they had to show this film in like fucking basements and art houses, churches, like all this stuff, and it still gained a following through that. So I'm gonna go with that, and it's lived throughout the years because of that. You know, this is for people who are not John Waters fans. Might be a real fucking hard pill to swallow. You know,
it's intense.
Yeah, I think you're right, 100%. Like, I mean, that's what a quintessential cult film should be, right? Like a film that gains traction, not by how well it performs in the theaters, but how people demand it just from maybe seeing it in their basements or on VHS at this time, I guess.
Yeah.
Not even VHS, right?
No,
this would have been like
Betamax.
Can I rock some reels? Like,
Yeah.
do we have a
Well, that's how he used to do it. He used to travel around with the film and screen it. Like the LA, you know, he's from Baltimore, so he had to go to New York. He had to go to LA.
He's
and
it's like a rock band doing
Yeah, it
gigs,
was.
basically. Yeah.
On a smaller scale, probably a little bit, but you know, and I will agree with all of you. I think it is a cult film, and I think it's a cult film just as a film. You know, I don't think it's just because John Waters directed it.
Yeah.
I think it definitely delivers something that is bizarre and unique and like a little shocking. So naturally, word spreads, I think.
Which brings me to my next question, which would be: is female trouble good bad taste or bad taste? Like in my opinion, like good bad taste would be like he's giving you like a lot of trash and he's giving you a lot of bad taste on top, right? But deep down there is a message. There is something to think about within this film. In my opinion, I would say it's good bad taste.
What's bad taste? Like Werewolf Women in the SS?
Like, yeah, it's something where it's just, it's like, it's really shitty, it's really trashy, but there's really no heart and soul to it. It's just shitty and trashy to be shock and awe.
Well, no, I don't think it's bad taste. I think it's good bad taste. I think, you know, you can tell he put a lot of effort in the writing. He put a lot of effort in the set design, the characters, like so there's a lot of it's endearing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree. There are moments that when you're watching the film, you can see that he is trying to make a commentary on something. It's not just surface value like shock and awe, sexuality, violence, or any of that. I mean, even the connection between Dawn, and the who are the brother and sister? What's their names?
Brother and sister?
Yeah,
they're
not brother and sister, but the couple, the photographers,
the Dashers.
The Dashers.
Yeah,
Donald
the Dashers.
and
Exactly.
yeah.
Even that does it has a deeper meaning as to how that connection comes forth and what Divine I keep saying Divine. What Dawn wants personally. You can tell she wants to be beautiful. She wants
Mm-hmm.
these things. This is, in its heart and soul, this film is small girl makes it big.
Yeah.
That's what this is. He took that story and he turned it into a commentary on violence and how the media perceives violence and how art and violence are like kind of connected in some weird way, and what people want and how other people can exploit that. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know.
It's-
There's a lot of it. There's a lot to unpackage.
The thing that I maybe can't get on board with is like I don't think it's so much about the media because there's really not any media in this film. It's just a couple that
Maybe at the
brainwashes somebody
very end.
for
Maybe
their
at the
own
very
pleasure.
end.
I feel
Yeah.
like the Dashers represent media in a way also though, because that's what the photography thing is. You're going to be a model,
Right.
blah blah blah. So that's what that's why I keep on relating it to the
Maybe
media.
we should say fame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fame is probably a better word to
Yeah.
use than media.
I would say too that though even this isn't his sophomore film, right? Is it second
no,
film?
no. I mean, he made multiple Maniacs, Pink Flamingos, and then
this.
As far as like feature films go.
Because I mean this still does have shock and awe moments. I feel for like shock and awe, like close up dicks. You know what I mean? That weren't really
I
necessary,
didn't
but
really even like that. Really, I didn't even see that as shocking. I would put Pink Flamingos as more of the
in
shock and awe and bad
in
taste.
1974, a flaccid dick is pretty shock and awe.
Yeah, but Pink Flamingos came out before that. Like,
Yeah, which is
what,
just
what I'm what,
shock
what
and awe,
like there was nothing that there was nothing in this film that I honestly found like quite shocking. Whereas like if you look at something like a Pink Flamingos or somebody Divine or is eating dog shit in that movie, which is like
Yeah.
another example. That's just like purely there to shock the audience, and like the like legit blowjob scene is there to shock. This was the nudity, the flaccid dicks, the full frontal you see is framed in such a way that it's just a normal, natural scene between two people having sex.
I would also like
well,
to.
kind of natural.
Okay, yeah. Subtract the needle nose pliers,
the hammer.
and the hammer, but no, it's not. It didn't strike me as shocking.
Yeah.
I'd also like to note that like this is a time when like porn is being played in theaters.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of that. Like just as a lot of filmmakers that we adore on this show got their education, so to speak, from the midnight matinees. Like John Waters has commented how much he sees porn as being a form of art form, and I feel like that was pretty prevalent in this film, just as
Yeah, but I didn't
been in
see
others.
any of the scenes as pornographic in any way.
I mean, it just like just having.
I think it's just an
dick
openness to just filming nudity as it is, like the human form as it actually is. It's not like trying to hide it or act like it's.
But the thing is, I don't think that the reason this isn't pornography is because I don't think there's ever been a sex scene in any John Waters film or any kind of nudity in a John Waters film that was ever attractive, that was ever like shot in a way to make you want to get hard and like, or you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like, be in a mood. Like, and if you think about it, the Dashers are so against anything sex, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so I don't think John Waters ever shoots nudity to be titillating or pornographic.
Personally, I did see it as like an art form. Like, there's no way you're giving the Jonathan Demme like close up to a dick and expecting people to be like I'm gonna get immediate hard on or something like that. Even when what's her name, Massey, is like rubbing her breasts
Right.
in such a weird and personal
I
way.
was so grossed out.
I wasn't
Yeah.
so much grossed out by it as it was just kind of like, okay, like that's literally how that's what I said in my head. Okay.
That's the point I was trying to make. Is I don't see it as pornographic at all, but I do see those as gross out moments, especially for the audience of that time.
Yeah, maybe a shock. Maybe at the time, maybe it's like boobs. Weird. Okay, that's just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Penis. That just came out of nowhere. But nowhere did it look. You know what I mean? And nowhere
No.
was it like
Sexual, like
really sexual at all.
But there is a part of me that thinks that you're giving too much credit to us being desensitized to these kind of things because, like, yeah, I can see Michael Fassbender's penis in Shame, but it's done in such a way that it's with so much cinematography and a layer of all of this down.
His
I can
penis
see
was
it over
shot
and
so
over
well.
and over again.
His
No,
penis
no,
was shot
but
so well. The lighting.
It's a far cry short from watching a guy take a piss and like walk into a room that's beautifully shot and whatever,
Right.
and then seeing a massive close up of a penis for a split second that just
that looks all beat up and chewed up.
I mean, yeah, it's presented. It's presented in its most
beat up and shoot up way.
what's the
Raw.
word? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's raw versus something like Shame or any other
Right.
movie that shows full frontal, where it's like done in kind of a weird, artistic. I mean, not saying that this wasn't artistic, but
I don't know if it was or wasn't, but
yeah, it's tough. It's tough for me to say, but I want to say that I do think you're giving 2016 too much credit for being too desensitized to this, because I think if somebody did put this in a film, like a modern day film,
No one care.
no, I think it would be like, what the fuck was that? Like most people would be like, what the fuck is this? Just
Yeah, if
pornography?
it
What
was
is
a
this?
shot that like filled the frame for 3 seconds, then whatever, yeah, it would be it. Yeah, to Mike's
Well,
point,
I mean,
would
no,
agree.
it made sense in this. It was a sex scene. It just like it was after Dawn and a gator have sex.
Yeah.
And they're having an argument, and this is a close up of it. So it was like,
But it's done in such a way that it's so like even the edit is so jarring. It goes from like a wide shot of the three of them talking to a close up of a dick.
that's why I think it's just a shock scene, because it's like in no way was it necessary other than to shock.
I don't know if I would say that either.
I wouldn't agree it was a shock scene, but that's just me. Because personally, I didn't find it wasn't framed in a way that I found it shocking. If it was the one scene that I thought was a little more shocking, if I was going to describe any of the full frontal in it, would be the scene where Taffy's father like whips it out.
yeah.
And that comes out of fucking nowhere, and that kind of like boom hits you with it. Whereas like the other scene where you see full frontal, you're front loaded with that scene, knowing they're having sex. So then as the camera pans and you see a close up, it's like, okay, well he's naked. That's whatever. They're having sex.
They prepped you for it.
Exactly.
All those beauticians and you don't have any boy dates?
I don't want any boy dates.
Oh, honey, I'd be so happy if you turned Nellie.
Ain't no way. I'm straight. I mean, I like a lot of queers, but I don't think they're equipment, you know? I like women.
But you could change. Queers are just better. I'd be so proud if you was a fag and had a nice beautician boyfriend. I'd never have to worry.
There ain't nothing to worry about.
I worried that you work in an office, have children, celebrate wedding anniversaries. The world of heterosexual is a sick and boring life.
Sometimes I think you're fucking crazy.
Do you think that John Waters is playing a satire on what beauty is, or do you think he's trying to challenge his audience on their own perception of what beauty is?
Second.
Challenge.
Yeah.
What was the first one you said? Sorry.
Do you think that John Waters is playing a satire on what beauty is throughout the whole movie? This is throughout the whole movie now. Do you think he's trying to challenge what the audience's perception of beauty is?
Well, okay, I want to take that back.
Go ahead.
I would say your second one is more detailed as to what it actually, like, what is satire supposed to do but challenge you on. I mean, that's
that's true.
the point of it.
I think he wanted to. I would think he just wanted to scare people, essentially, like with like the. Or we're talking about
because like
the fashion and stuff.
No,
like
not
that?
not just the fashion, but the obsession with beauty throughout the whole movie. But they're focusing on hideously like disgusting things, and they're saying it's beautiful. And I'm wondering if he was trying to say like if he was playing a satire is like this is a joke. Like if you guys like this is a joke.
I don't think it was a joke.
Beauty's like, or is he trying to say no? Even ugly things can be beautiful.
I would go that I would say it like that, but I would say it more in the sense of like he's focusing on the fact that beauty is a subjective thing. That what one person sees as beautiful, another person might see as ugly, and vice versa. And it's very clear. But here's the thing: Dawn's understanding of beauty seems to be relatively superficial because it's only she wants attention.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing about this.
She sees fame as beauty.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
I mean, I think just to go off your question, Cody, I think it started off as more of like an exaggerated joke, sort of. I mean, Divine was created with the intention to scare actual drag queens. Like it was almost more of like a kind of a joke thing. It was like, I want to be a drag queen, but I want to fucking freak them out because everybody's scared of them, you know? And then it just kind of took off. And I think one kind of fed the other. Like, you know, they were already involved with like kind of bizarre people, you know, of Baltimore. And he always tried to find the beauty in like the disgusting, essentially, like, or the rejects, if you will, or like the you know, the things on the outskirts of society, the people that, you know, like, I mean, like Edith Massey, you know, she's one of a kind, like bizarre
very true.
person. Like, so I think he probably always had a fascination with like the ugly, if you will, but like could make it socially acceptable, and maybe beautiful, if you will.
But then what is he saying as a filmmaker when, Dawn goes on and then I believe that her opinion of what beauty is skewed, and it leads to her committing basically a mass shooting.
Yeah, I mean, she's selfish.
And then going to jail and killing her daughter.
First of all, I think she's just a selfish character.
Absolutely.
Like from the get-go, all of them are. It's like bratty kids, bratty kids that didn't get their cha-cha heels for Christmas and pull the Christmas tree down on top of their mother and run off and get knocked up and lead a life of, delinquency, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
This might be along the same lines as the last question, too. But do you think that Dawn Davenport was a representation of John Waters after the underground success of Pink Flamingos, and then the Dashers were his audience, basically? And what I mean by that is that the hipsters that took watching Pink Flamingos as a badge of honor and snubbed people who couldn't make it through it, because a lot of people would walk out or whatever, and who didn't get it maybe, kind of blew smoke up his ass about trash films, and he was kind of making a point to make fun of them in this with the Dashers.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna touch that.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think it went that deep, honestly.
Because I look at
I think
I don't
this
know.
film was highly influenced by a lot of earlier trash films, underground films that not many people had heard of. I think he incorporated just a lot of different ideas. I don't know that he was necessarily taking out his
anger,
frustration, or anger or observation on his film and trying to say I'm being treated this way or being treated like.
I don't know. I'm not trying to say he was being treated bad or anything like that. What I mean is that here he goes and he makes a trash film where obviously a lot of people walk out. Pink Flamingos are not big. I think that's where he got the Prince of Puke moniker from, because a lot of people threw up with the dog shitting scene and stuff like that. And there was the few people who did make it through and carried on this legacy and stuff like that for that movie are kind of like the Dashers in a way, where they're skewing this view of beauty and turning it into something that it might not have been, and telling him this, and that John Waters always bites the hand that feeds him, right? That's his thing. He always bites the hand that feeds him. And so in this one, he's more or less having the Dashers be a representation of maybe his own audience.
Well, I could see what you're saying in the sense that there's this whole story. He talks about people going to see Pink Flamingos and high upper echelon people coming to see this midnight movie that they'd heard so much about, sitting on the floor and puking and throwing up. So if you're comparing maybe a scenario like that and translating it to the characters at
yes,
then I could see that maybe maybe he's making fun of that class of person.
I definitely think he is.
See, I kind of want to disagree with what you're saying in terms of the Dashers being representative of an audience. Personally, the way I took the Dashers was as, I guess how I put it would be artists who don't really actually believe in the art that they're presenting. I think there's a difference between pure exploitation and people that see exploitation as a means of art, right? So I think the most telling thing is in the court scene when the Dashers are actually put on trial for it. It's not like they stand up and say, "You goddamn right, we fucking support the art that we put out there, and this happened, but you know what? This is what we find to be beautiful, and we present it as it would be." They don't go down with Dawn.
No.
They absolutely turn their back on her and then go right back, and then you realize that maybe what they were doing was just exploiting the idea of beauty, of crime being beauty, not actually believing that crime was beauty.
I like that. That's a very. I think you may have nailed that.
Sure.
I think you nailed that on that. I would agree,
because they obviously throw her completely under the bus and make up shit, just to get her put into jail. So it's completely turning your back on something that you try to use, manipulate.
I mean, maybe he's saying that about other. I mean, I don't want to get into the mind of John Waters, but maybe he's saying that about other artists, maybe that he met or something. Maybe that's what he's trying, because certainly we've met people like that.
Yeah,
I've met
definitely.
people like that where I'm like, you don't really believe what you're.
No, that's a fantastic point. And I didn't look at it from that way until you just explained it like that. And I think you might be pretty much right on that. Do you guys think that this kind of raw filmmaking exists anymore? Like,
I mean, like what? Like Serbian film? I don't know if Serbian film.
I mean,
or something of that nature.
In the comedy world,
I wouldn't even say comedy world. Like, I would just say like overall, it's weird. It's just like you don't see even like low budget horror films or anything like that. You don't see like there's this.
Oh, the whole exploitation series of films just doesn't really exist today in general.
But what I mean is like there's a lot of passion in this film. There's like you can tell he put a lot into
so you're
it.
not focusing on the content. You're focusing on a passionate director. Is there a passionate filmmaker out there right now?
Not just passionate, but like just like everything of the way it's shot is so raw. The way it's like it has such a raw feeling to it that I don't think I've seen a film and like it.
I think that there probably are. The difference is that at this time when he made these films, there was a desire, or at least an underground desire, to see these type of films that like permeated. There's no internet this time. You know what I mean? Like there's all you have is word of mouth. Nowadays, sure, there might be 100 John Waters out there, but no one's talking about them.
That's the problem, is the oversaturation. Like these came at a time when not everybody was making movies. I mean, you had to really want to do it to, and I think he proves that with his early work. You have to really want to do it to like make it come together. And you almost have to be like your own PR machine at this time and go around and tour your movie and show it and create this hype and buzz. It's all different now. There's, 5 times the amount of people making films and, there's so much content everywhere that nothing really stands out anymore.
All right, guys, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about Female Trouble.
Do you want your spaghetti with or without cheese?
I'll have 2 chicken breasts, please.
Well, we're not having that. We're having spaghetti.
I couldn't possibly eat spaghetti. Do I look Italian?
We rarely eat any form of noodle, Dawn, but I'll take a tiny portion to be polite. With cheese, please.
I have an extremely large glass of ice water.
I wouldn't mind with lots of cheese.
I'm afraid there's not enough for you, Taffy. How about some toast?
What do you mean there's not enough? You can feed these 2 ham bones, and you can't feed your own daughter. I told you things were gonna start changing around here.
Taffy, don't make me lose my temper in front of company. Oh.
All right, guys, we're back. We're talking about Female Trouble, 1974, directed by John Waters. I will start off and say that I'm not rating this yet, but I'll kind of.
You gonna open with your rating right now?
Nah, kind of.
Yeah, you're gonna jump to that.
I kind of jumped to this film like, especially with the openings in the beginning and stuff like that. I got like the humor in it with Dawn as his teenage child, who just was rebellious against fucking everything.
Yeah, meatball
authority.
Sandwich.
The meatball sandwich scene was so fucking funny. Just like sneaking it, eating it, like, and I love how they play like on the fatso stuff like constantly.
Yeah, that's no big deal at this time.
No, but I had a hard time swallowing it at first because I don't feel like the message was there yet as far as the film.
Well,
but
you didn't see it yet.
Yeah, I didn't see it yet. Exactly, I didn't see it yet. I saw the satire as far as like what they're playing on kids.
It's funny when I watched this. I watched the first 30 minutes of it, and I was kind of in the same mindset of fucking Pink Flamingos 2.0.
Right,
goddamn. And I actually stopped the movie 30 minutes in, and I took like a 4-hour break, and I like did other things, made dinner, and then I came back to it, and I definitely had like a more relaxed mindset. Like I got over it, and I could actually enjoy the film.
I started enjoying it when she threw the tree.
Down on her mother.
On her mother.
Yeah.
That scene, just when she didn't get the cha-cha heels.
I'm trying to think when I stopped it. It was probably after she got fucked by when hitchhiking.
And when she got fucked by herself.
Let's talk about those 2 scenes real quick.
Okay.
That Christmas tree scene is a real life scenario that happened to his grandmother.
Oh, nice.
But he wasn't there to see it, so he just obsessed about how it might have been or looked or how it went down.
That's
so he wanted to
hilarious.
put it in his film. And the being fucked by the hitchhiker, did you guys pick up on that?
That was him.
That was Divine fucking himself. Because John Waters wanted to give a new meaning to the phrase "go fuck yourself."
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty funny, though. That's pretty funny.
That scene was really weird too, because like he jumps on top of her, fucks her once, and then it cuts to him pulling his pants down. Then he jumps on top of her and continues fucking.
I assumed
her.
he was dry.
Cut to poop streaks in his underwear.
Yeah, I assumed he was dry humping her.
How come he goes, I'm coming, and then he gets up and pulls his pants down and then continues.
Because he's got. It's called stamina, Kyle.
Oh, is that what that
called
is?
Stamina.
I want to know what that is.
Well, and actually, okay, so one of the ladies who gets their hair done in the Lipstick Beauty Salon, which we're later introduced to, she is Divine's body double, essentially. So when they were shooting that scene, she
The stripper, right?
Oh, okay.
No, not the stripper.
No, the one that was the one that looked like fucking Divine.
Yes,
yeah.
She had the big black hair, and she
Yeah.
was like, "Throw a penny in a goddamn well, make a goddamn wish. Maybe it'll come true." Like,
also the receptionist in the in the beauty salon was also pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
And that's when they filmed after she had her child.
That was her child, right?
They filmed Divine having taffy.
Yeah.
And she rips the umbilical cord with her teeth.
Yeah.
Which
Which is condom and what, liver?
Yeah.
Funny side note on that. The grandmother of that child was in town visiting because it had just been born, and that was the first time she got to meet her grandchild, was during the filming of that scene.
Guys,
covered in fake
Spinning
blood.
the umbilical cord on the freaking couch, like, ugh, that makes me gag.
Guys, doesn't it feel good?
What?
Doesn't it feel good to have Chris have his own episode for once? 'Cause
He's the most knowledgeable person in the room,
I
man.
know. Chris is talking up a storm tonight. It's a breath of fresh air.
What was the reason for Dawn going to the beauty salon in the first place? It was just to feel better.
It was the hip place to be.
But wasn't her friends telling her to feel better about herself?
No, I think
She
her
was down on
friends.
herself?
Well, her friends were saying, "Yeah, get a haircut, make you feel better." But they're also telling her, "Hey, there's this guy there that's hot as fuck, and he's actually your next door neighbor." That was part of it.
Yeah,
and he's the most tame.
And then she also found out that it's an exclusive place to be in, and she wanted to be part of that.
I think it's the precursor to what becomes a theme of her entire character development, which is her, as an outcast in high school, and then moving away, and then getting impregnated, and then becoming
a terrible
trying
mother.
to find. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, terrible mother because she's all about herself, but she becomes obsessed with beauty and becoming
famous.
Yeah, like desiring attention. Yeah, so definitely.
Well, I think
famous,
that's all kind of set up in the early scenes with her in school, though. Also,
yeah, to some extent, but like I said, like going to a beauty salon, and then that's the hip place to be where she could up her status as like whatever. Like
She wanted to be a member of
like
the
I said,
exclusive club because that's like
guys, this is Glitter, the movie Glitter with Mariah Carey, except with Divine. No, done by John Waters.
Oh,
no.
okay.
and then the Aunt Ida shows up.
And Aunt Ida is Gator's aunt, and Gator's the one that Dawn falls in love with or falls for because he's her hairdresser.
Right.
And surprisingly, he's not gay.
No.
to Aunt Ida's
dismay.
To her dismay.
Which I think
love.
is it's a brilliant scene. I really do. To frame what is has become the stereotypical like, oh, I have a gay son, like kid just be normal kind of thing.
Yeah.
To frame that
flip
in
that shit.
reverse really shows how insane that conversation really is to have with your child.
Why
to be
can't
like,
you just
can't
be
you-
gay?
Yeah. Can't you just put your genitals where I want you to put your genitals? Like that's an insane thing
Yeah.
for any parent to ask their
I thought
child to do.
that whole back and forth though is hilarious. Like that the way that scene opens up and it's Gator's just like, oh, Aunt Ida, oh, Aunt Ida, you so hot, Aunt Ida, oh, and it's just like
Aunt Ida.
Jesus,
Oh my god.
that's your aunt, man.
Don't you look hot today?
no,
no,
not at all.
and none of those days,
None of those days whatsoever.
Apparently, that outfit was very uncomfortable to wear.
Oh yeah,
Like
It
from
looks
her
it.
Yeah.
from her personal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
I
it
didn't
looks
know.
it. It looks very uncomfortable
Yeah.
to wear
Took like
Behind
for
the scene.
anyone. And
Yeah.
Mink Stoll plays Taffy, who's the obnoxious child of.
I liked her.
Really, because I was with Divine on this one, or I'm sorry, Dawn on this one, where I was just like, God.
I
I
don't
liked
know.
her.
I hate her.
I thought she was. I thought
hate
she.
her
I
too.
thought she was so like ridiculous and and she was lashing out so much because she wasn't getting any attention. I thought it was
Here's the
hilarious.
Thing. This is what I liked about her character, and this is what I took from this, especially with her joining the Hare Krishnas, was that she was basically doing the same thing her mother was doing.
Yeah.
Like she just did it in a different way.
Yeah,
like
she's on the same path.
Yeah, like Dawn went off with these weird artists, and she went off with this weird. Let's not say. I don't know if I call them a cult, but like some weird kind of.
Well, just her personality throughout the film is basically Dawn as a child, and it's just repeating itself. It's like a cycle.
I just can't understand why she can't jump rope in the bathroom.
Because there's not enough room, Cody. God damn it!
God damn it! Yeah,
not enough room.
Her cutting that jump rope in half so angrily.
Yeah.
I
was when I was watching, I'm like, ooh, is it even gonna cut? This looks like a one take. I hope that rope cuts.
Yeah, a lot of these were one takes.
Oh, I love the one take of Divine, Dawn. I'm gonna keep calling it Divine.
I do. I mean,
it is Divine.
Either way,
it's Divine. Like you know her as the character. You know her as the actual
actress.
Yeah.
Strutting through
strutting through the city after
through the city and no one giving a fuck.
Everybody was looking and oogling me.
No one was.
Yeah, that exact same shot is in Pink Flamingos, and the thing is in that one they get a ton of reactions, and it's the same setup. Just walking down the street, trying to capture people actually being like, "What the fuck is that?" It worked in Pink Flamingos. It did not work as well in this film.
Do you think that's because the makeup?
Well, John Waters goes on to say that because her face had all those burns and scars all over it, people probably just thought that she was like a mentally challenged person or something.
Or they didn't want to be rude and stare.
Exactly.
That was also some of my favorite stuff. Was just when she would call Taffy retarded.
Oh my god.
Oh, that whole conversation. It's true. I took you to a doctor and they said you're retarded.
You are most definitely retarded. And, dude, it's so fun. If we were going to talk about favorite quotes or scenes, like that scene makes me laugh the hardest, especially because Gator chimes in and he's like, "Look at her. She's got the face of an old woman. You can tell she's retarded."
Because how old is Ming Stole in this? And how old is Taffy supposed to be? Like, I took a Taffy supposed to be like 12.
Yeah,
yeah,
probably.
Maybe a little younger.
And Ming Stole's
even.
like
it was a little surrealistic. Yeah,
Ming Stole's probably
12.
Yeah, I think she
20s?
was. I think it was like kind of a surrealistic view.
Okay,
it was like I'm gonna have a 18-year-old play a 12-year-old.
Okay.
And
I think this is probably my favorite Ming Stole role, or one really close to like my favorite Ming Stole role in all of his films.
More than Cecil B?
Yeah, way more. She's only in it for fucking.
I know, but she's
minutes.
still funny in it for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
in
she
Cecil
is.
B.
She is. But the early films is when she really gets to shine.
We go through all this, and then we meet the Dashers who hate sex. I think we mentioned that before.
Did
Yeah,
They do. Yeah, they hate
it.
sex.
Yeah.
They hate it.
Okay.
I like the I like the spaghetti scene with them. That's fantastic.
Oh, where she chucks the bowl of spaghetti at the wall.
just him, where he's like, "I'll have a little bit, just to be polite."
I know. I love that whole scene too because Taffy runs in the room. She chucks a huge bowl of spaghetti at the wall, explodes all over the place, and then Dawn smashes her with a chair.
Yes,
and it's like a breakaway chair. If you watch closely, Ming Stole is totally like bracing for it because she knows that a chair is about to be smashed over her.
It's bad wrestling.
it was good wrestling. What are you talking
Really?
about?
Think so?
Yeah.
To give away the
and
the
then
chair
there's
smash?
those posing pictures afterwards. Like, you just won a prize. And like grabs her arm
he
and
grabbed her arm,
steps on
stands
her.
on her, like-
yeah. Favorite, anybody got favorite lines?
You and I had the same one. I don't remember it though verbatim. Why don't
I
you
don't
say
remember verbatim either, but it was, I wouldn't suck your dick if I couldn't breathe and your balls had oxygen.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which was fucking hilarious. That line is so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
That and that gets me, and like the fucking girl who tells on Dawn for eating a meatball sandwich in class.
And
is
now
like,
they're
"I'm
threatening
here-
my life.
Yeah, I'm here to learn.
I'm here to get an education.
So good.
You know, the problem with this movie and picking favorite lines is I feel like every piece of dialogue is a line. Like, is some outrageous, outlandish, extreme, over-the-top reaction, expression. Like, I can't think of one character in this movie that's tame, you know, or that's toned down in any way.
Gator.
Barely. Like,
Not really. He goes around
Compared to
fucking the entire.
No, but compared to everybody else.
With what I just said, let me follow up and say probably one of my favorite lines in this film is, "Go take your fucking toolkit and go fuck a garage."
That was a funny line.
So good.
Favorite scenes, anyone?
I mean, like I said before, the scenes with Ida and Rocket. I thought
Rocket?
they were Rocket. Not Rocket.
Rocket?
Gator.
Fucking
Rocket? Where'd that come from?
You know, some name of a '50s gangster or
Rocket.
or '50s. I don't know. No, any scene between her and Gator were fantastic. I loved them.
I would have to say my favorite scene is probably the end scene in the electric chair.
No, when she's thanking everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's doing her award speech.
Yeah,
Basically,
her
great
Oscar
ending.
speech. Yeah.
And just that freeze frame it ends on and the
Yeah.
credits start to roll is
Right.
just great.
Right. I like the scene when Ida, and Dawn are basically battling each other. Like,
Did she throw a fish at Ida?
threw it on her head.
Yeah.
And, like, Ida's dumping the trash out in her front yard or whatever, which there's plenty of trash down there already. Anyway,
I was gonna say, like, I didn't understand why she was upset. I'm like, I thought that looks like where all the trash
Do they live
goes.
at the city dump? Like, what's going on?
The opening song was pretty badass too. Got to throw that out there. I really enjoyed that.
Is that considered a theme song?
I would say it is.
Okay.
I think
because
so.
it's called Female Trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a song for
and
the
it's
movie.
sang by the actor.
And this wasn't the original title of the movie,
No.
right? What was it? It was like bad.
No, it was
Bad-
Rotten Minds, Rotten something.
Rotten
Rotten
Mind,
something.
Rotten Face or something.
Rotten Face,
Yeah, that's
Rotten
what it
Minds, I
does.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he didn't want critics to be able to put rotten in there, so he changed it, which I think is for the better.
Smart business move.
It was. See, even before that, he knew selling out. He knew how to do it right.
Yeah.
He knew how to promote that film to get that audience in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's rate this Mammer Jammer. Chris, what do you want to rate it?
I'm going to rate it syringes of liquid eyeliner.
All right.
Gives me energy.
I will go first on this one. I will go first. I think I said this, but the first 30 minutes, I kind of threw this film away. As far as I was like, here we go, early John Waters film that, just going to be shock and awe, blah, 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 blah. Really didn't like it. And then by the end of the film, I was pretty much praising the hell out of it in my own mind. I would have to give this 4 out of 5. I think this might be the quintessential John Waters film. Watch it. Is what I can say. It's highly entertaining. It's funny. It makes you think, and it's entertaining. That's pretty much what I can say. 4 out of 5. Let's go, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 as well. What I like most about this film, me personally, I always consider myself a cinephile first over a particular genre fan, like whether it be horror, whether it be anything. Exploitation has never been necessarily my favorite genre, as with like maybe even westerns on top of that. But if you can take a genre and you can find a deeper meaning or use that genre to elicit a certain response in me, I always have to give that credit. And this film really did that for me. Like I've already talked about how I'm not a big fan of trauma films in particular, but this definitely felt like a very different beast. It had some of the same things in it, to be sure, some of the same themes, but at the same time, there was something that I couldn't help but gather that he was trying to say about society and his views on life, and it gave me a very introspective look into the mind of John Waters, as it were. So yeah, I got to give this a 4 out of 5. It's a fantastic film, and I would recommend this to anybody.
Kyle,
I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. I went into this with very, very, very low expectations, as I think I've made clear throughout the show. I thought it was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I could see the message he was trying to get across, but I didn't feel like it was overloaded. It wasn't heavy-handed. It wasn't like focus on this thing. It was there in the background, and I appreciated that. I did take the movie kind of at face value. It's very over the top. It's entertaining. It's weird. It's bizarre, and I liked it. I was surprised. I actually was thinking after the first 30 minutes in, I thought this was a solid 1 for me. But as the movie went on, I really appreciate the filmmaking, the writing, all of it. So I would recommend this to somebody for sure.
So Kyle says it's not a solid Repo Man.
Yeah, bring that one back up. I stand by that rating.
all right, Chris.
Okay. Female Trouble. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. For me, it is one of the most well put together early John Waters films. Most well rounded. And it gives you everything that you kind of need to know about his filmmaking style. Like if you want to set somebody up, like if you want to introduce them to an early John Waters film, a lot of people say go with Pink Flamingos, but I don't think that's really going to hook you on him as a director. I think you're going to be like, wow, that was shocking, that was bizarre, blah blah blah. But I don't think he didn't show off his directing and writing chops as much in Pink Flamingos as he did in Female Trouble. I think Female Trouble is the better film. I think Divine's performances are outrageous but hilarious and fun to watch. All the other characters seem to be pretty much on their game and giving it their all in this film. Set design on the budget is really creative and good. Costumes, hair, all that stuff is like for what you could do in Baltimore in 1973 on like $25,000. I think he was very ambitious with this one. And, it's hilarious and it is shocking and it kind of takes you through all these different scenarios that you've never seen before captured on film. So for that, I have to give it a really high rating. I'm going with 5 syringes full of liquid eyeliner.
All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Make sure you follow us on social media, on Instagram at cultfilm_review. Also on Twitter at cultfilm_review. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow Kyle.
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris.
You can follow me at cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
You can follow Mike.
You can follow me at Mike Salustio on Twitter.
And you can follow me on Instagram at VHS Collect.
Oh, really quick. If you want to check out past episodes, you can do that at www.cultfilminterview.com.
Make sure you go there and check those out. And guys, don't forget you can always leave us a review on iTunes, and we'll give you a shout out at the end of the show. Unfortunately, we didn't have any today.
Looking at you.
Looking at you guys.
Looking at you, world.
And just remember, if you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next week.